Hello, this is the Tonberry King, and rather than doing some sort of voice work or dubbing or producing today, I'm actually doing a tutorial on how to make very nice looking professional text to spruce up forums and signatures and what have you. The goal is to make backlit text that has reflection, like it's on a glass surface, and that lights up a set of butterflies on it. So if this is the thing you're looking for, hopefully this will help. Anyway, let's create a new document. I'm going to set the main parameters to a height of 1.25 inches and a width of 2.25 inches. This is based on the font that I pre-selected. Yours may vary, so feel free to change your parameters if you need to. I'm going to fit it to screen just so you can see it better. Now what I like to start out doing is using the paint bucket and just filling this first layer with a matte gray just so you can see your results as you go along. Anyway, let's create a new layer and choose your text tool, and then up top you'll see your text parameters. I like to use Anglican text for this, and then a 36-point font. It seems like a nice compromise size-wise. It stands out. Alright, and then just click anywhere on the layer, and then go ahead and type in whatever word or phrase or name you're using for your example. There we go, and then choose the Move tool, and go ahead and just center it on the layer. And realistically, this is actually the bottom half of your text on the finished product, since it's kind of a two-tone text. You'll see how this is done soon, though. Anyway, now just create a new layer and do the exact same thing. Choose the other color that you want on the top, which in this case is a brighter orange. And then just click on your gray area somewhere and type in the same exact word and center it on top of the yellow one. And you can use your arrow keys to get more precise control of your movement. Anyway, you see the first four letters are nice and centered. You don't see any yellow underneath. However, the R to the L have a little bit of yellow on the left-hand side. This can be a problem with some fonts. This one in particular does this almost all the time. So what we want to do to fix it is just right-click on the layer, choose Rasterize Type, and what it does is it turns it from a text layer into a graphical layer. So now we can select around all of the offending text with our Polygon Lasso tool, like so. And then choose your Move tool again, and hit the arrow, left arrow to move it left, or right arrow to move it right, and it should center it more. So now you don't see any yellow underneath. Now I like to put my yellow layer on top, so I just dragged it up there. And from here we want to choose the layer mask option. This basically allows us to create transparency on the layer. And now you want to make sure to choose a linear gradient, and the white stands for opaque, black stands for transparent. So when you drag a line up, where it starts is going to be opaque, where it ends is transparent. And if you let it go, there we go, you see how it kind of reveals the layer underneath halfway up. So it creates this nice kind of gradient text. And once you're satisfied, you can do it as many times as you want. Just select both layers by holding down the control button and then pressing the E key to merge them. Now we want to go ahead and duplicate that layer, so now we have two copies of that same exact thing. And on the top one, I'm going to choose the blending option mode by right-clicking that layer, clicking the drop shadow box, and then setting the parameters as such. I like an angle of 90 degrees so it's directly below, opacity at 50%, distance at 0 so it's actually directly behind it now, and then a spread of 10. And it gives it a little bit of a dark aura, just so the text stands out against any background that you put it against. Anyway, on the other text layer, you want to go up to Edit, Transform, and then Flip Vertical, and you'll suddenly see the text kind of upside down underneath the top layer. And now you want to go to Transform and Skew. And this is how you're going to get that foreshortened look in the reflection, which is what we're working on now. So you want to stretch the bottom two corners out about 45 degrees or so. And you kind of stretch it, as you can see. And now go up to Edit, transform, and scale it to about half the vertical height. A little more, a little less is fine. And then choose your move tool and just use the down arrow or the up arrow depending on where your text is, and go ahead and put it underneath your main text that you're using, which you have the kind of dark drop shadow against. It's also a good idea to maintain a little space between your word and reflection, just to accommodate letters such as G, P, and Y. Anyway, we're going to set a layer mask on this layer, and then again use your gradient tool. Make sure to select white to black. It sometimes reverts to a color. And then just drag from the top to the bottom this time so that your bottom half is transparent, to give the illusion that the reflection is fading off into nothingness. And then just lower your opacity to 40%. There we go, and you get this really nice looking reflection. Any more and it kind of distracts from the text itself, and any less and it doesn't really have the good effect that you want. Alright, and then we're going to add in the butterflies. I'll show you how to make the butterflies in another tutorial because that's going to be a full 10-minute video just to make these. But I've already pre-made some. So we went ahead and opened this red butterfly that I created ahead of time. You just want to select around it and then... Oh, I thought copy was in the right-hand menu. Anyway, just Control and C to copy it, and then click on your other document and paste it. And you'll notice it comes out really massive because my text is much smaller than the scaling on the butterfly, for good reason. I like my graphics, like the butterflies and such, to be really big so that it retains a lot of detail as you shrink down. And anyways, yeah, you saw earlier I clicked on the edit menu and then transform and scale. And now if you hold down the shift key when you're dragging the corner, it'll actually retain its proportions, and that's important. You don't want to accidentally stretch the butterfly too fat or too skinny. So yeah, make sure to retain proportions when you're sizing stuff. And once you're happy, go ahead and just use the move tool and drag it to wherever you want to put it. And there you go. Now let's do another butterfly just for good effect, and this time I'm going to show you how to customize the wings so it looks like maybe it's half open. This gives it a really nice effect so it doesn't look really generic. It looks very custom once the butterflies are all different from each other. So we'll do the same exact thing here. Transform, scale, make sure to hold down shift and then just drag down one of the corners and keep doing it until you get a good size. It can be a bit tedious. Now notice when I drag the vertical side right here, it actually doesn't retain proportions. So make sure to use a corner. I just wanted to show that off there. That seems good. And to finalize results really easily, just double click on your image and it'll stop the sizing. Anyway, this is how we're going to customize the wing. Basically, you just want to use your polygon lasso and select around one of the wings, doesn't matter which one. And then go up to Edit, Transform, and Scale. And now this is the real magic of this whole tutorial. If you scale that one wing, it basically starts to look like it's flapping. And now watch this, when I move it farther right than it should go, haha, it flips and it almost looks like it's a pair of butterfly wings on one side. So this is a really easy way to customize your butterflies. It's that easy. And then once you're satisfied with the position, I always recommend shifting it slightly to the right or left, just so that you're not blocking the butterfly's body itself. And once you're satisfied with that, deselect and then move it to whatever position you want it to go in. And even for a little more customization, you may want to also rotate it in the edit menu. And double click to finalize that result. and then go ahead and just move it into position. I'll put it on top of the L here. There we go. And you get this really nice custom look to your words. And you can do different butterflies for every one, so it looks very professional that way. And once you're satisfied, I'm going to go ahead and fit it to the actual size. This is the size that it actually will appear in. Go ahead and just deselect your gray layer and then save it as a ping file in your formatting, and then name it whatever you want and save. And it will retain all of its transparency properties if it's a ping, and just leave interlacing at none. And that's basically all there is. You can paste this on any forum that allows pings, and it will look as professional as anything you've seen me do. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you next time for the butterflies.